Hello, printmakers! Welcome to another wonderful session with Brett and I. I'm Sam, and right here with me is Brett, and
Hi, everyone.
we are discussing printing the dry point or intaglio plate. And you can see a video of Brett in the background. We're going to play and loop that over and over and over again as we talk through this. We have just finished prepping the paper, and then it's been soaking in our bath. We've pulled it out, we've dried it, to a certain extent, not completely. We still want it damp, and then we bring it over to print. So here we are with our damp paper. The rest of our edition, we're imagining 3 to 6 sheets of paper, are still in the bath itself, and they're all getting saturated with water, whether that's your sink or it's a tray, whatever that bath may be. But that paper is still soaking for the rest of the edition. So let's imagine that that's all happening right now while Brett and I are working on the printing itself. So first of all, make sure your hands have been washed. Be sure to start with nice, clean hands. Brett and I might be looking down during this, and we're just looking at our notes to make sure we say this right. It is okay to clean your hands anytime you need to during the printing process to ensure you keep your paper clean.
So the next thing you're going to do, as you can see in the video, we've gone ahead and taped down the dry point plate into the printing area. So you can see that on the left side of this video, there's a dirtier area. That would be the inking area. And on the right side here, that's our printing area, which is kept really clean. And I went ahead and taped down all around the plate. So I tried to locate where the different edges were. So when you go ahead and print it, it's not shifting and moving.
Really important there. So as we move through this taping process, you can see Brett's like taping everything down. The next thing, after you've secured the paper to the printing area, using pager's tape to ensure, as Brett said, it does not shift. It's really important that the paper isn't like sliding around on top of your plate. That's why we're taping the paper down. I know this might seem like counterintuitive. Why are you taping the paper down? That's going to be the final product, the print. Well, here's why. We want to make sure that's still. We've also taped the back of the printing plate itself down to make sure that that stays still. So now we have two objects, the paper and the plate, and they're both immovable and in place.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're using the bottom of a glass to start printing the plate in a circular motion. We're using this glass instead of a wooden spoon or a doorknob, which is kind of untraditional because the glass allows for less friction. So possibly a hard plastic glass or a glass, LOL. But you're going to turn the glass in small turns, moving horizontal across the plate and then vertical up and down across the plate to ensure you've hit the entire area. It's important to note that we're using the cup made of glass to reduce the friction. And later on in the video, we might also possibly use an iron as well. An iron that is not plugged in, I want to emphasize that, an iron that's not plugged in because the metal surface is flat and cool and will cover a lot larger area to ensure that any areas you might have missed with that cup, you're still hitting with the iron.
So you can see Brett is rotating that plastic cup in small circles over and over the plate, just to reiterate that. And he's trying to do it in a systematic way. So he's going kind of across horizontally, then back and forth vertically, right? And then a little bit of a diagonal variation. Now you can see the iron is coming into play. The goal here is to force the paper in contact with the plate. Okay, and that way that the paper is absorbing the ink. Now it's really important that the paper is still damp so that it can like fit down into those little crevices that you've carved with your dry point needle so that you can get the paper in there to pull the ink out. Right, that's our goal inside this space. The dampness of the paper along with the pressure will help pull the ink from the inside lines of your plate. Right, and you can see we're getting the paper a little bit dirty on the back, and we are kind of foregoing that for a well-printed image. We're kind of letting go of that amount of control in order to make sure that we have a really great print.
So as you can see, we're putting the iron down, and then the next step is you're going to slowly remove the tape. You want to slowly pull it away at an angle to ensure that you're not tearing up too much of the paper. So you'll slowly and carefully pull that tape off, and then once that's done, coming up in the video, you'll see that you slowly will remove an edge and then quickly pull off the paper to ensure that it doesn't come in contact with that plate.
All right. So once you've carefully pulled that off, you're going to pull the paper up. Notice that it's a very careful pull up, and we've got nice contrast there in all our areas. All right, you're going to lay the print down on a dry area, carefully examine the contrasting elements, look at the darkest darks and the lightest lights, also check and see what the background plate tone is, a little grayer than the paper tone itself. You're going to lay the print down on a flat surface to dry.
Just a quick side note, when Sam and I were doing this, it does take us a few tries. Printing the dry point by hand is quite difficult, so give yourself some leeway and grace as you do this. Printing is a process, and there's a possibility that the first one might not be the best one. And that's the point of proofing the plate and also creating an edition till you finally get one of those prints that you're satisfied with.
Once you get that artist proof, the one that's satisfied, as Brett said, that's when you start making your edition. That's when you begin to make 3 or 4 that are looking close to the same. This is the goal of a printmaker, to make a group of reproductions that have very close to the same qualities. The more you control the variables to ensure that this happens, the better the printmaker you are. So that's what we're trying to help you do with all these recommendations and the discussion of how to print. This is what we found worked best for us in our situation. Your home studio might be a little different, and if you want to have one-on-one conversations with us, please schedule those, and we'll be happy to help you.
One quick note before we go, if you're going through the process and you like the way a print comes out, it's always a good idea to take detailed notes of the process so you can duplicate it in effort, like Sam said, to make those prints consistent. This is just one of the several prints we pulled again, but it turned out to be the one with the highest contrast using the tools we found at home.
All right, printmakers, best of luck. It was great talking to you today. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
You got this.